What is up, guys? In today's video I'm going to be talking about an augment that secretly got a pretty big buff, and it might actually be worth using now. As always, if you guys do find this video helpful or informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, and comment down below what you think of this and if you're going to start using the augment. So the augment we're going to be talking about is going to be rarity check. This is an augment which gives you siphon or HP on eliminations with common and uncommon weapons. So white and green weapons will give you health when you eliminate somebody. When this was first added, it gave 25 health or shield, depending on what you needed, when you got an elim, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. Like 25 health or shield, like it's nice, but it's not really going to be worth using a lower rarity weapon for. It's not really going to justify that as much. However, at some point this was buffed and it's now actually insane. I was sent this clip from one of my viewers, Dessler4, and from my understanding, the way it works now is that if you eliminate a player, it will fill your HP or shield depending on what you're missing. So if you have 40 white health and you get an elim, it'll give you that 60 that you need to be 100 white, but no shield. If you have 9 white health, it's going to give you that 81 you need to be 100, but again, no shield. If you have 13 shield, it's going to give you the 87 shield you need to be 100. So it's not a flat out like just plus 100 every time. It basically fills either your health or your shield. So if you're missing any white health at all, it'll fill your white health. If you're full white health, it'll fill your shield when you get an elimination. And this also works on animals, which is pretty crazy. In this clip here, I was able to get 50 shield back from eliminating a dinosaur. Not really sure why it works differently on humans versus, or like players versus animals, but it seems like the effect is lower on animals. And that is basically my understanding of how this augment works. Again, if you're full health, it'll fill your shield. If you're missing base health, it'll fill your base health. But it doesn't just give you like flat out 100 every time like you would think. And that is my understanding of how it works. I could definitely be a bit off on this because testing it and getting gameplay of it has been pretty difficult because this augment is pretty rare. I spent all of my gold one day re-rolling to get it. And then after I was done streaming that day, and I didn't get it, by the way, but so I spent all 5,000 for nothing. And then after I was done streaming that day, I played and got my gold back up to 5,000 by opening the vaults and opening the saves and capturing flags. I just played, got gold. If you play only to get gold, you can actually get it pretty quickly. I think I was getting about like 2,000 or so in a game. So spent 5K, didn't get it. Farmed all my gold back up off stream so I could have it again the next day. Tried again, spent all 5,000 and didn't get it. So I spent 10,000 gold trying to get clips of this augment for this video and didn't get it. So it's like, it is pretty rare. This definitely would be something that's a struggle to reroll for. I wouldn't recommend rerolling just to get it. If I wasn't actively trying to make a video on it, I wouldn't have been doing that. But if it does come up in your augment pool, I think it definitely is worth taking advantage of because it is very good. So if you are able to get it, and you need some low rarity weapons to make it work, obviously. So now I'm going to talk about which weapon rarities I would recommend giving up or taking a downgrade for to be able to take advantage of this augment. We're going to start off with shotguns. I do not recommend using a lower rarity shotgun just to take advantage of this augment. Shotguns typically gain more damage per rarity increase than the other weapon types. When you look at like ARs, pistols, SMGs, it's usually only 1 or 2 damage increase per rarity, whereas shotguns can be upwards of like 5 sometimes per rarity. And then also the shotguns are just naturally inconsistent weapons. And so, you know, you're going to get some amount of damage based on how many pellets you hit. So you want that like starting total potential damage to be as high as it possibly can be. Whereas like when you look at the like traditional bullet weapons, you get the same damage every time. So a slight increase or decrease in damage, I also feel like isn't that big of a deal. But with shotguns, they can be so inconsistent that I feel like you just want to start off with the best potential you can to hopefully get more damage out of it. And then also shotguns are usually the most impactful weapons in Fortnite. Like a lot of the fights that really matter are typically going to be decided by your shotgun. So again, I just want to have the highest rarity I can have there. I think ARs typically aren't going to be that big of a deal to use a lower rarity on. With assault rifles, you're usually going to be playing behind cover, medium to long range, maybe stealing kills, like third partying, shooting at people who are weak, or, you know, getting opening tags on other players. So it's like the AR fights are rarely the most impactful ones in the game. Typically, you're a bit more safe when doing so. And also, the damage difference isn't that big of a deal. The green MK hits for 23 damage, while the gold version of the MK hits for 26. So going from green to gold, you gain about 3 damage. So if you have this augment and you come across a blue MK and you already have a green one, you might as well keep the green one and keep taking advantage of rarity check. If you're able to go from like green to relics mythic, then sure, maybe you might want to like take that at that point and forego the use of the augment. But I think on the MK, rarity isn't that big of a deal from a damage perspective. Also, it's a weapon where you're typically able to hit lots of shots on the opponent in a short time span, so a few extra damage on 1 or 2 bullets isn't the biggest deal, whereas shotguns having a lower fire rate can matter more, you know? So I feel like ARs are just more forgiving. You're going to hit more shots, and then also the damage difference per rarity isn't the biggest deal. One of the main differences between rarity with the MKs is going to be the recoil. The higher rarity MK variants have lower recoil than the low rarity ones. So if you do struggle to control the MK's recoil, then maybe you wouldn't want to consider using a lower rarity MK. But if you do want to take advantage of this augment, I think the MK is the best choice. And also it makes it very easy to eliminate animals and get the siphon that way as well, which is really nice. Another weapon I think that isn't really that big of a deal to use a lower rarity weapon is going to be the explosive repeater rifle. The green one hits for 34 explosive damage or 68 if you hit the person with it. And the gold will hit for 40 splash damage or 80 if you hit the person. So there's definitely a damage difference there, but I feel like it's in the same ballpark of damage, and it's really not going to change the fight or change how you play too much one way or the other to use a lower rarity version, especially in close range. If you're using a gold pump, you hit for like 150 and then swap to your repeater, they're probably going to be dead one way or the other. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not that big of a deal. If you're mid-range, just constantly spamming somebody with splash damage, I feel like the rarity of repeater doesn't matter. If you're able to shockwave up and repeater down on people, I feel like the rarity doesn't matter. Like, the way the explosive repeater works is just such an annoying weapon, like, on its own, that I feel like the rarity almost doesn't matter that much. So if I did want to maximize my potential for this augment, I would run, like, a green MK, a gold pump, and then a green repeater. Have the pump to hopefully hit as hard as possible in the fights that matter most. And then you can get by on a lower rarity repeater and a lower rarity AR just fine, I think. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. The repeater matters more than the AR, definitely. But I would be more willing to give up my repeater rarity than I would my pump rarity. But that's just me. And then for spray weapons like SMGs, I also don't think rarity is that big of a deal at all. Pretty much for the same reason I talked about with the ARs. Like, they don't gain that much damage per rarity increase. They're going to be doing like 1 or 2 extra damage. These weapons usually have really high fire rates, so a little bit of extra damage per bullet isn't the biggest deal. And also, like, just the way you're going to use it isn't going to change as much, I feel like. Like, the really consistent weapons that do the same damage per shot, like the ARs and SMGs, I don't care about rarity as much as I do something like the shotguns, because the shotguns can be very inconsistent, and also the shotguns typically see much more damage increase per rarity increase than what you see out of, like, the SMGs or the ARs. The ARs and SMGs also have much better fire rates, so the time to kill difference, I feel like, also isn't going to be that large. But that is going to be it for this video. I just wanted to kind of call out attention to this augment because I was amazed when I was shown that it was giving 100 shield for an elimination. I think that's pretty crazy. And the fact that you can eliminate animals to get shield as well is pretty wild. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more. Comment down below what you think of this and what loadout you're going to run to potentially take advantage of this augment if you do get it. This person has zone. Do you think they saw my video on Garrison? I don't think so. They don't have any shockwaves on their body. Imagine spending gold on the Maven? Yeah. I mean, I was never really that big of a fan of that weapon, so it's like, I wouldn't, but like, some people like it, I guess. I don't know. I feel like of the, like, high fire rate shotguns we had in the game, it's just, it never felt nearly as good as, like, the auto shotty from chapter 3 or the tac from previous chapters. Like, I don't know what it is, but just, like, something about the Maven never felt, like, good to me. The exotic, obviously, is a different weapon, but even that one has its problems. don't think this guy knows I'm here. Are these people teaming? Okay, no.